months ago, I made a rather cheeky request of Ferrari. And I said, it's all very well this Ferrari FF. We see it sort of out in beautiful roads in Italy, but what's it really like to live with? Was there a chance that I could spend some time in it? And remarkably, they came back and said, oh yes, why don't you have it for a couple of weeks over Christmas? So I've had the pleasure of running around in this FF for the last, well, week or so, and doing all the Christmas duties, or picking up grandma and doing the last minute shopping. And it's just been fascinating to use a Ferrari in a sort of mundane sort of way. Nothing mundane about the price. This car lists in the UK at £227,000. Add a few extras like this. Oh, it's got a superb, specially treated leather interior in here, including the lining of the boot as well. So it's full premium leather all through, premium sound system. It's got an upgraded sort of TV screen in the front. It's even got front viewing camera, DVDs in the back. Why you want to watch the DVD when there's quite a lot of else to enjoy in this car, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, this car lands at a price, I think it's £273,000. So it's not a bargain family car in any way. But what do you get? You get 660 horsepower car, as we know, with the FF, and this unique trait, this four-wheel drive system, where it can transmit a little bit of torque to the front wheels via a completely separate gearbox. Now, it's been a bit of a Marmite car, the FF, ever since it launched. People aren't sure about the styling and whether it's a real Ferrari should be doing a car like this. I'm probably in the minority who think it's a great idea to do a car like this. I think any way you can get to enjoy a Ferrari, 660 horsepower Ferrari, on a sort of day-to-day basis, well, that gets my vote all day long. And this car sort of proves it. It's a UK press car, registered in January. We're in obviously December, and it's showing me 26,000 kilometres already. So this is a well-used car already. And I have to say, it's sort of done the day-to-day stuff really rather well. One thing I don't like are the controls on the wheel. They keep promising I'm going to get used to them. In daylight, I found them bearable. But as soon as you're travelling at night, or if it's raining, oh, you're having to dive underneath. The only way I can describe trying to control the bottom of the steering wheel when you've got half a lock or a full lock on, it's like trying to learn the guitar. You're sort of trying to pick a string and your finger won't quite go in the right place. That's what I'm finding with the steering wheel. But there's other things to enjoy, as we know, and 660 horsepower, 1800 kilos. It's a monumentally quick car. You know, you sort of take friends out in it, and they are truly shocked. 660, you've got to remember, it's more powerful than the Enzo was. It's an upgrade on the Enzo. Yes, we've got the Ferrari F12 out now at 730 horsepower, but who would have thought we could do a usable car with 660 horsepower like this? Now, as many readers of Evo will know, I live on a farm, and therefore quite often during the day I go around the fields to check the stock and check the crops or whatever, and that involves taking a four-wheel drive. So I've done that today, except it's this one. I've taken the FF. Now I just hope Ferrari aren't watching this bit, because it's probably not what they expected me to do with the Ferrari, but I am staggered where this car can go. Yes, it's on snow tyres, but it's got a setting for snow, for slippery conditions. And Ferraris do not go in places like this. You get a Ferrari normally, you sort of even a muddy puddle and it will get stuck. Not this one. I've been everywhere in this one today. The only thing I'm slightly complaining about, I could do a little bit more ground clearance, but that is an option on this car. Now, to please Ferrari, I think I better get it back on tarmac. It shouldn't do this. Extraordinary traction. You can just hear the gearbox working, but yeah, very, very impressive. Tarmac. Phew. So thoughts so far on the car, on the FF? It's an exciting car. You only have to listen to that. And yeah, you can get to love a car very quickly that makes a wonderful sound like that. But it's the practical side that I really wanted to explore doing this loan, and on that front, it's pretty good really. The great big doors open up into the cabin. Everybody gets in here comments on the quality and the look of the car and really fall in love with it. Getting people into the back is pretty easy. They're like super speed electric seats. Tip them to the front and they motor to the front, easy climb in, motor very quickly back. So on sort of practical sides, it's pretty good. But it is quite a big car. You put it into a car park and you think, oh my lord, you always take a double take and you sort of end up doing 3-point turns. It's reasonably good lock, but that front bonnet is huge. Obviously because it's got a V12 nested behind the front wheels, but then it's got that gearbox at the front and it just feels mammoth at the front. But the cameras do a pretty good job. Oh, just love that V12. Super slick gearbox. I mean, the Ferrari's first attempt at this dual clutch transmission, absolutely nailed. It really is very refined. I'm in sport at the moment. I've got dampers that I can put to a bumpy road that slightly soften the the damping when you're in sport, which is a nice feature. But yeah, a really easy car to live with. Typical Ferrari super light steering. What isn't quite so easy to live with is just driving around normally. I've been getting 13 to the gallon, so rather lower than Ferrari their hope for 18 miles to gallon. It's got stop-start on this car. That feels quite peculiar in a Ferrari, but it does sort of gives you this sort of sense of occasion, because each time you go to move off, whoa, up comes the V12. So there's a sort of sudden injection of noise. But yeah, I don't think you're going to buy this car for economy. Ferrari FF actually introduced a new engine to us. It's based on the Enzo unit, and here it is in all its glory. Sometimes engine shots aren't worth doing, but on the Ferrari FF, under the bonnet, it is beautiful. There's no plastic panels. It's true V12. That is the induction, and there at the front is the gearbox. Yeah, I mean, a Ferrari engine should be celebrated, and I just love the way they've dressed this engine. But this car is going to get its main test. We've seen what it's like on the road, we've seen what it's like off-road. The next test is tomorrow, because 4 of us are going to Val d'Isère in this car, which is about 700 miles away from here. So somehow we're going to have to get all our gear into that boot. It is a really big boot according to the spec sheet. It doesn't look that big to me. They say it's 450 litres, which doesn't really mean much to me, but it's about twice the size as the boot on the Maserati. It's about the same size as a a BMW 3 Series or something like that. Ferrari very kindly have given us a first aid kit and a tool kit, which apparently you have to carry. I just love that tool kit. One, because it has a tiny little Ferrari crest in it, and 2, this is stitched leather. If you look here, this is actually a white leather and that's red leather, all beautifully stitched, all lovely. I just hope, I'm hoping we don't use it, but I've never quite seen such a beautiful first aid kit. That doesn't look a lot of space to me inside there. This will come out. I could fold the seats down, but that would be a little point with 4 of us up. And I can't get over that the guys in the rear are going to have DVDs to watch with wireless headphones. This certainly is a very new generation of Ferrari, but as I say, tomorrow it's a big test for it. 5:30 in the morning trying to pack the FF. Yes, it always was going to be a challenge, and yeah, the parcel shelf is gone. Just about got squeezed everything in, but properly tight, but all very excited. Pouring rain in the UK, so that should mean snow out there. Let's hope, fingers crossed. There it is. was quite a run. That's 800 miles in a day to get here. Sainte-Foy, really beautiful little village just on its way to Val d'Isère in the French Alps. Proper car to come in, I have to say, the FF. Just monstered the auto-reach. Funnily enough, it's got cruise control on it, although on this car, on a typical Ferrari, they call it pit speed. So you set your pit speed on a little button on the dash, but it's really handy having cruise with a car like this, you know, when you're trying to keep it below sort of insane sort of speeds. But when we look at it, it's sheet ice up here. They've had a proper dump of snow here. You can sort of see on this car sort of conditions. It's like the FF just doesn't notice. It's got the latest Pirelli snow tyres on, and they work an absolute treat. Don't really affect the handling. I mean, even up here it was hardy skidding about. It's got an ice setting, but it just storms up. It really does do what it says on the tin. It really has superb traction on the Marinetta, and I suppose this is what you're meant to do. It's a bit tight inside, a few grumbles from the back seat saying, oh, I'm getting pins and needles. There wasn't a lot of wriggle room, but it's good fuel range. Got us all here. Got 4 sets of luggage for 4 people. It's pretty packed in the back, actually. Let's have a quickly open the boot. Yeah, it's pretty packed in there. Not a lot of space for anything else. And as you can see, we didn't go for the Ferrari fitted luggage. We went for our own style of luggage, squashy bags only, I think, in the back of there. But yeah, great run, beautiful little village this. Can't wait. 3 days skiing, couldn't be better. So, it's the last day with the Ferrari FF. I've had it for 2 weeks, we've done over 2,000 miles in it, and the whole idea was just to live with it on a day-to-day basis over Christmas, so that's exactly what we've done. So we've been to the supermarket in it, I've been to the garden centre in it, I've taken mates out in it and scared them. It's very good at that. And we also, last night we got back from a 1,600 mile jaunt to the French Alps, 4 up, skiing, so we had all the gear in there as well. Can't imagine many Ferraris that can do all that lot. And the highlights for me, starting off, the engine. 6.2 litres, 660 horsepower. As docile as you like. I mean, most of the time you're sort of in comfort and it's in auto mode, and you just don't realise the potency that this engine has got. Wind it around to 8,000 RPM, oh my lord, it's a completely different car. I mean, shockingly fast. And that ability with the 4-wheel drive to put its power down in all conditions, so you can sort of use it. And that's the real sense I get with this car. This is a completely different Ferrari to any other, because most of them you lock away at the end of September, October, and don't get them out again until April, because they're delicate things and they like to hide in garages, dehumidified under a cover. No, not this one. This one really makes sense once winter comes in, October, November, fantastic headlights, incredible traction. And that traction, this new 4-wheel drive system, I didn't really like it in the summer because it slightly diluted the Ferrari experience. You didn't really sense it was always powering through the rear wheels. It's sort of just when it got really exciting it would put some power to the front, and it slightly diluted the feeling of a true thoroughbred Ferrari. But in slippery conditions, I mean, you've seen we've taken it around the farm, no Ferrari should be able to do that. But on the snow, I'm going to risk my reputation by saying it's nearly as good as a Range Rover in the snow, because it's a ton lighter, rear biased weight, and with the traction, the super clever torque vectoring, all those clever diffs going on, it just goes anywhere in snow and ice. Quite amazing. 4 up, for that sort of length of journey, I had a few complaints from the passengers of numb bum. 2-3 hours in the back is no problem at all. They tell me it's a good view out, so you don't feel completely claustrophobic in there as you can do in these sort of cars. But yeah, 12-hour jaunts, numb bum does start to set in because the seats sort of hold you in position. But yeah, I've been surprised by this Ferrari because, as I say, I didn't quite like it as much as I hoped when I tried it in the summer because it didn't quite make sense. But as a 12-month sort of car, that's what completely changes this car. When you start to use it day in, day out, whatever the weather, that starts to make sense. Here in the UK, you get a 4-year warranty with all new Ferraris and a 7-year maintenance package, so you don't pay anything. You've got to pay for the 7 years is tyres and fuel, and that's it. Take it for servicing. But what a 100,000-mile Ferrari FF is worth in 4 years, I don't know. You have to do the sums there. And it is expensive, this Ferrari. 230,000 list, about 280,000 in the spec that this one is. It's about 120,000, 130,000 pounds more than the Porsche Panamera or the Bentley Conti GT. But for that, you do get that normally aspirated 660 horsepower V12. It's just how much you think that's worth. But it's a different sort of Ferrari. I'm going to miss it much more than I expected. It really does what it says on the can. This is a very usable Ferrari, and for that I really admire it. I like the looks as well. It's a practical Ferrari and it sort of blends in. So yeah, going to miss it greatly. It's been a fabulous 2 weeks, and I hope sometime in the future I can enjoy it a bit more.